You know that moment when you stare at your wall for too long and start thinking, what if walls are just the skin of the house? Yeah, that was me last night. Anyways, that's when I remembered Gaster, and I started thinking, what if he has skin? And what if that skin is orange? Hi, my name is Karel, and today I'm going to talk about a very interesting theory that I found. A few days ago, while I was doing some research about W.D. Gaster, I noticed something weird. Okay, first let's talk about who Gaster is. Relatively, we don't really know a lot about him or who he is. Almost all of the information that the community had gained about Gaster are from the one value events which have a pretty low probability of happening. We can also speculate Gaster's way of speech from entry number 17 and the narrator dialogue from Deltarune, which is both believed to be written and said by Gaster. Let's talk about some fun failure related stuff first. Upon further inspection, we can see that if you manage to get a fun value of 65, you will be able to enter the sound test room, which is a sacred room after the papyrus fight. Now, there are 4 pieces of short music that you will hear in this room, and the last one is titled Gaster's Theme. If you look closely in the game's file, you will see that this Gaster's Theme is labeled as him. From this information, we can speculate that Gaster's pronoun is him. Now, the pronoun him is usually assigned to a male. And you know who else is male? Well, about 4 billion people honestly, but one of them is Trump. Donald Trump. Not only that, if you look even further into Trump's presence on social media, you will notice that most people commonly refer to him using only his pronoun, which is him. For example, people that dislike Trump might say, when will someone do it to him? With "to it" being a verb that is typically used to indicate bad intention, and also with little to no context on who the him that they are referring to is. And while we're still on the topic of social media, let's talk about how Trump himself behaves on social media. If you've ever gone through his Twitter profile, you will notice that a fair amount of his posts are on all capital letters. This is very similar to the way Gaster speaks on entry number 17 and on Deltarune, which give us more evidence that Donald Trump might be Gaster. Now, while I was looking for more information about him on social media, I noticed in some of his speech, Trump uses some kind of hand gestures to convey his message. In other words, I guess you could say, he's the man who speaks in hand. And you know who else is titled the man who speaks in hand? Gaster. As you can see on these images that I'm showing, Trump appears to be spelling out a word using wingding's hand sign. It might be very hard to read, but if you analyze it letter by letter, you will soon notice that this word that he is spelling reads as Gaster. Coincidence? I think not. Okay, enough about social media. Let's talk about another thing that Gaster is on. Gaster is heavily associated with the number of the beast from the Bible, which is 666. This number can be found specifically in Revelation 13, verse 18, where John the Apostle talks about the mark of the beast. Now, we can see the influence of this number on multiple Gaster quote-unquote encounters. For example, let's take a look at fun value 66. If you manage to get a fun value of 66, you will be able to access a secret room in the waterfall that upon entering it, you will see an entity standing in the middle of that room. Now, the sprite for this entity in the game's file is called Mystery Man. And even though we have no clue on who this Mystery Man is, everyone else just agreed that he's probably Gaster. Another example is Deltarune. Did you know that when Deltarune was first released, it was called Survey Program, and the installer for this program has a version of 0.6.6.6.666, the Gaster number. Now you might be wondering, what does all of this stuff have to do with Trump? Well, you see, Deltarune was first released in 2018, but the idea behind Deltarune itself was first made around 2012. Donald Trump was born in June 14, 1946. That means in the year 2012, Trump turned 66 years old on the 6th month of that year, the same year that Toby Fox tried to make Deltarune. Is it possible that Toby Fox might have gotten the idea after Donald Trump revealed Deltarune to him on a dream? Well, I don't know. So yeah, to sum up this whole video, Trump is Gaster. Do I believe in this theory? Yeah, no, I don't. But consider sharing this video so I can buy a better mic and make more stuff like this, I think, yeah.
There is a difference between the past and the present, and there is two opinions about this. One with, one no.